It's a moment many of us dream of. Dusting off a forgotten treasure, bringing it to the Antiques Roadshow, and hearing those magical words. It's worth a fortune. The crowd gasps, a tear might well up, and suddenly, your attic jump turns into a down payment on a dream house. But let's be real. For every fairy tale ending, there's often a dose of reality. And sometimes, that reality comes wrapped in a pair of legendary boxing boots. Imagine walking onto the set, heart pounding, with an item you truly believe is priceless. That's exactly what happened to one particular guest, armed with what he thought were the very boots Muhammad Ali wore during his epic 1975 Thrilla in Manila fight. The story was solid. A gift from Ali's legendary coach, Angelo Dundee, back in 1980. The guest, a former executive sports editor at the Philadelphia Inquirer, had even received a robe and a note confirming the shoe's provenance. Talk about a knockout story. He held on to these boots, perhaps for decades, cherishing the thought of their incredible history, their direct connection to one of the greatest athletes of all time, and one of the most iconic boxing matches ever. This wasn't just a pair of shoes. It was a tangible piece of sports history, a whisper of Ali's power and determination. You could practically feel the sweat, the grit, the sheer will emanating from them. But then, the moment of truth arrived, as it always does on the Roadshow. Grant Zahatko, the expert tasked with appraising the guest's prized possession, delivered the news. It wasn't bad news, not entirely, but it certainly wasn't the six-figure dream the guest was likely envisioning. Here's the rub. While the story was compelling, the authentication was lacking. In the world of high-value collectibles, a great story is only as good as the verifiable proof that backs it up. And in this case, a crucial piece of the puzzle was missing. Zahatko, with a respectful but firm demeanor, had to deliver the tough truth. In my research that I did, I have found another pair that was from the Thrilla in Manila, actually certified authentic as Ali's shoes that were worn in the Thrilla in Manila, he explained. Ouch! Suddenly, those Thrilla in Manila boots looked a lot more like, well, just very cool training shoes. The expert speculated that while they were indeed Ali's, and likely used for training, they weren't the iconic pair from that specific, legendary fight. It's like finding a signed baseball from a Hall of Famer, only to discover it was signed during a spring training game, not their World Series winning moment. Still awesome, but not quite the same level of legendary. The power of provenance. Why documentation is king. This story really drives home a critical point for anyone with a cherished collectible. Documentation is everything. Think of it as the DNA of your antique. Without clear, verifiable provenance, even the most incredible items can lose a significant chunk of their value. For an item like Muhammad Ali's Thrilla in Manila boots, where millions of dollars could be on the line, the chain of ownership and usage needs to be ironclad. Imagine if there were a notarized letter from Angelo Dundee explicitly stating, "These are the boots Ali wore during all 15 rounds of the Thrilla in Manila fight," or a photograph of Ali wearing them during that exact match, with the boots clearly identifiable. That's the kind of bulletproof evidence that transforms a fascinating anecdote into an undeniable fact, and a high-value item into a truly astronomical one. Without that concrete proof, even a compelling personal connection, like knowing Angelo Dundee, isn't enough to push an item into the highest echelons of value. It's a tough lesson, but it's a fundamental truth in the world of high-stakes collecting. Not all hope was lost. A still valuable souvenir. Now, before you feel too bad for our guests, remember, this isn't a story of total loss. While the six-figure dream might have evaporated, the reality was still pretty sweet. Zahatko, ever the professional, wasn't about to completely burst the guest's bubble. He still recognized the incredible significance of these shoes. They were Ali's. They were given by Angelo Dundee. They were a tangible link to a boxing legend. And that, in itself, holds considerable value. So, while they might not have been Thrilla in Manila boots, they were still genuine Muhammad Ali training shoes. And for any serious boxing memorabilia collector, that's still a prized possession. The expert's final valuation, a respectable $15,000, $20,000 for a moment. For an item you've likely had tucked away, maybe in a closet or a box, for decades, suddenly finding out it's worth $15,000 to $20,000 is still fantastic news. It might not be the house down payment money, but it's certainly a significant unexpected windfall. That could be a dream vacation, a new car, or a very nice addition to a retirement fund. The enduring appeal of the Antiques Roadshow. This story perfectly encapsulates the enduring appeal of the Antiques Roadshow. It's not just about the potential for life-changing valuations. It's about the stories, the history, and the often surprising twists and turns that come with unearthing forgotten treasures. Sometimes, guests arrive with what they believe are priceless artifacts, only to learn they're interesting but not particularly valuable. Other times, they bring in something they thought was junk, and it turns out to be worth a small fortune. And then there are cases like this one, where the item is valuable, just not in the way the owner initially imagined. The show offers a fascinating glimpse into the world of collectibles, the meticulous work of appraisers, and the emotional connection people have to their belongings. It's a reminder that every object has a story, and sometimes those stories are far more complex and nuanced than we initially assume. So, the next time you're watching Antiques Roadshow, and you see someone's face fall as they hear less than stellar news, remember the alley shoe story. Even when the priceless dream takes a hit, there's often still a valuable, fascinating story to be told, and a very decent chunk of change to be had. And that, in itself, is a thrill. What hidden gems might you have tucked away that could surprise an expert? The only way to know is to find out.